Every year we mark June as Youth Month and focus on the challenges the youth are facing in South Africa. While there are many problems faced by society, from access to education, unemployment and poverty, as well as HIV, others continue to struggle to realize their dreams in joining the world of business due to funding. Now, in an attempt to alleviate this problem, Vusi Thembekwayo is opening his heart to young people in South Africa, and he had a successful spell in entrepreneurship and recently sold a majority share in his management consultancy business, Motivate. He caught the eye of U.S. partners in a multi-million rand deal, which made him one of the most successful businessmen. Now he joins us in the studio, and of course, he's on a new journey of growth and giving back, and in the process, changing the narrative of entrepreneurship in South Africa. Vos, finally, welcome.
Those are very kind words. Thank you, Ngiyabonga.
Yeah, well, mostly when we talk about Vos, people would know you as a successful businessman.
Yeah.
But then, how did you start your business and how did you get it right?
Yeah, you know, the getting it right part was hard. The beginning was a bit of chance and a bit of will. So I spotted an opportunity in the market and I went after that opportunity. And the opportunity was quite simply that I was speaking at a lot of conferences and I was using a lot of academic work and research that was done by American researchers. And then I started building my own research function here in South Africa, a strong research business. And some of the people with whom I was working in the US said to us, if you're using our research and you're paying us license fees, let's get into a long-term partnership and relationship, which we did. And what I think they didn't anticipate was the rate at which the business would grow. So, you know, they're a 108-year-old business. They're in 62 other countries. And for 6 years consecutively, I outcompeted all the other countries that we're in. And then eventually they said, we should have a conversation and see if we can buy your business. At first I said no, I've got to tell you. The first time they came, I said no. Because I wasn't interested in selling. I also felt that the time was wrong. But they persisted, and now, what is now close on 3 years ago, when they approached me again, I said, well, let's have a look at having the transaction. And it took about 2.5 years to negotiate the deal and then finally close the deal.
You know, what I'm getting in essence is that you have to be in business, you have to do well, and when you have started small, is then when somebody is watching what you're doing, and then when they see potential, then they will do business with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing for entrepreneurs to realize is somebody's always watching, and this is what many entrepreneurs don't realize. If you make important steps at a small level, you never know who's watching. And I said to someone, an entrepreneur who came to our firm just today to ask for funding, I said, never discount the encounter you can have with one person that can fundamentally change your life. And that's, in effect, what's happened with my life, is I've had several encounters with separate people that has, at different levels, changed my life to a different stage. So if you are an entrepreneur, you need to ask yourself a simple question, which is, am I in it for lifestyle or am I in it for legacy? Because you can't do both. So if you are in it for lifestyle, then you live a lifestyle business. You'll drive a nice car, you'll live in an okay apartment, you'll send your kids to an okay middle income type of school. But when you die, your business will die. If you're a legacy entrepreneur, then that's a different kind of thinking. It's more long-term, but it also means you take a lot of pressure up front. So
but it's very hard to propel your business to greater heights, especially when you are a guy from Kasi and you're struggling. And it's not only the issue of funding, but is your business living from hand to mouth.
100%.
Because when you knock off in the evening, you need to put food on the table.
100%.
How are you going to pay school fees, pay rent where you stay, and so forth?
100%.
Now, let's bring business closer to home and to the grassroots level. Is it only the issue of funding if you have a great business idea?
So funding is important. I just want to make this point. Funding is important. Funding is important, but is not necessary. You can start a business without funding. Here's what people don't understand. A business is nothing more than an application of skill for the commercial enterprise. My skill was speaking. If I can speak and get paid, I'm in business. If I can do a garden and get paid, I'm in business. I don't need money to do your garden. I just need the skill of gardening, right? So I think the mistake many entrepreneurs, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in Lokshini, make this mistake, which is they think you need the money to start. You don't need money to start. You need money to grow. You don't need money to start. So if you're going out and saying, I want to start a business, give me funding, you're going about it the wrong way, because the funder won't fund you to start the business. It's too much risk. There's too many things you haven't done, too many mistakes you haven't made, that if I gave you 2 million, you have to make the mistakes using my money. It doesn't work.
Tell me about the mistakes. What mistakes are we doing as South Africans? Is it a question of hustling, wanting to survive?
So there are two fundamental mistakes. The first one is the mindset. We spoke about it. So get your mindset right. You either legacy or lifestyle. Can't be both. Pick one. The second mistake is, I think, the rate at which we prepare people for this thing called entrepreneurship. You know, so today to get a matric, you need a 33% pass rate in maths at maths literacy. That is, by the way, the equivalent of what was in my day and your day, about standard 7, 40% matric standard grade. So basically, the person can't put together an algebraic equation, which means they'll never be able to put together an income statement. So what I'm saying is, when you are an entrepreneur, you lose the benefit of saying so-and-so will do that and so-and-so will do that. You do that when you're in a big business. When you're an entrepreneur, you're the marketer, your HR, your accounting, your finance, your operations, your strategy, your IT, you're all of it. So you need to then get very good at almost everything to survive.
But there's a problem now because we want to be ambidextrous when we're doing business. Yeah. But here's the problem. The kind of education system in South Africa, I mean, I come from the Bantu education era, yes. And then I had to really yes. educate myself, even though I was in a system yes. that was graduating from yes. high school to varsity. Yes. But then I didn't know anything about business yes. until I was in it yes. to know more about it. Yes. Then tell me about the synchronization of business yes. academically. Yes. Academically speaking, yes. how is it really in sync with the operating environment for young people to be part of the mainstream economy?
Let me just say this very quickly. Your point is valid and correct, but South Africans again need to learn that there was a difference between being educated and certificated. Those are not the same things. I can go to school and get a certificate, and I see it all the time. People come into our firm and apply for a job. They have a certificate, they're a chartered accountant. But you know what they do? They're good at debits and credits. That's it. Don't talk to them about strategy or marketing, they can't do it. My grandfather started a spaza shop. The very first time I heard about the term EBITDA was my grandfather explaining it to me at 12 years old. I was like, what is this EBITDA thing? And why does an old man who doesn't have a standard 2 know what EBITDA means? So I then went and learned earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. So the question is, how does an old man who was educated probably in the 30s and 40s, definitely went to a pre-apartheid schooling system that was not preparing the black man for economic enterprise, learn a term that is a corporate finance term? It's because even though he wasn't certificated, he went and got himself educated. The point I'm making, when you become an entrepreneur, the responsibility to learn how business works becomes your responsibility. You cannot blame it on the environment you're in and the education you're getting.
But somebody will disagree with you. I mean, like if we come from township yes. and rural schools, yes. you can't compare the education there with those who are attending at yours, downtown CBD, Joburg.
I 100% agree. But again, I make the point. There is the education you receive, given to you by the system and the school to which you go. Then there is the education you seek. There is the things you do. Put it to you differently, when you're given that free bundle of data by MTN, are you on Twitter or are you on YouTube watching a video from Mark Zuckerberg about how to master scaling a business? Both will cost you 200 megabits. Both are going to do very different things for your life. Now, the question is, all I'm saying is, I move beyond pity. There is a point beyond which you can't ask for pity anymore. There is a point beyond which you have to take responsibility for your life and say, I am going to do it for myself,
it's tough out there.
Of that.
It's tough out there in the world of business.
I agree.
Look, man, now let's talk about you have opened your heart to South Africans yes. and you have made it big and you want to help people. Yes. Tell us about this My Growth Fund.
Yeah, so after the sale, I suppose you get to an existential crisis, which is, I've made a little bit of money. What do I do with it? So I took 10 million rand, a portion of the money I've made, which is 10 million rand of my own money, and I've invested in this venture capital fund called My Growth Fund. And in essence, what we're doing is we're recruiting entrepreneurs, this is important, who are post-startup, pre-maturity. So your business is running, you're typically doing about R1 million a month. People hear a million rand a year. People hear a million, they go, it's a lot of money. It's 80,000 rand a month. Like Ispaza Shop makes 80,000 rand a month. So if you're doing 80,000 rand a month or more, and you're looking for growth capital, then we're the people that you come to. Because, and I just want to make this point, it's an important point to make. The effort required for me to take an entrepreneur from doing 1 million to doing 10 million, employing 5 people to 50 people, is the same effort required to take an entrepreneur from doing 10,000 to 1 million, from employing 1 person to 5 people. My entire aim is growth and scale. So I'm focusing my energies on entrepreneurs that are looking for opportunities for growth and scale.
Okay, so far, what kind of businesses have been applying? Tell us about the nature of the specialty.
So this is the most fascinating thing for me, is they come from all sorts of spaces. We had a young entrepreneur, young black entrepreneur, 122 million rand business in construction. Young lady in fashion, 2.3 million. Another young lady, her business does hair and hair weaving, about 5 million. Another young lady who came in and does training, 38 million. So they are all over the spectrum, which is for me what is exciting. And Bonkuma Bears Ageti, all these people are saying, finally, someone understands that just because I'm running and I've got an office doesn't mean I've got it sorted out. I actually need help to grow, because it's important to realize you get to a point of growth and then your business can die.
Before we run out of time, the contact, people must contact you now. How do they get in touch with you?
So three things. Go to my website, which is mygrowthfund.co.za, mygrowthfund.co.za. Go to my personal website, vusitembewaya.com, all one word. Or just call the office 011-312-7551. Got a ready call center of people willing to help. And we're talking to entrepreneurs. So anybody who'd like to join the program, jump in.
Well, Vusi, thank you very much for making time to speak to us, and thank you very much for sacrificing.
I know it took forever to get me here, and I appreciate your patience in waiting for me.
I'm a very patient man. All right, Vusi Tembewaya, who is venture capitalist and global business speaker, economic futurist and entrepreneur. So to apply for funding, log on to My Growth Fund on www.mygrowthfund.co.za.